It's this double standard that has been part of the American fabric, but because of ideology, it's invisible. And we could talk about just gun ownership in the Second Amendment. There really is a double standard, and the double standard is defined by race. Blacks were allowed to own guns because the Second Amendment provided for it. But we know what would happen. Laws were put in place, statutes were put in place that limited access for blacks to be able to protect themselves at a time when the Klan ran the countryside. We have Jim Crow laws, really the black codes come on the books. 67 in California. The Black Panthers that basically were in the courthouse in Sacramento were exercising their Second Amendment, and within 2 months they changed the laws because they were seen as a threat. The Constitution was written for white free men, and it qualifies naturalized white free men of good moral character. Between Dred and Plessy, we know that the Supreme Court said that there are no laws of the Constitution that apply to blacks. So the idea that someone could even claim a right to the Second Amendment really isn't there.
Black people and firearms, like, we've had a very different history and experience with firearms, just experience in this country in general than any other group that exists in this nation. As an organization, we want to be a place where black people can come together and we can discuss issues of gun ownership within our community and the history of that from the past all the way up to present day.
I tend to be in favor of the Constitution, so because the Constitution says it's the right that people should have, I'm going to co-sign. You know, individuals, they're guaranteed the right by the Constitution to have a firearm. So, I think that they should be able to avail themselves to that right.
He was trying to get out his ID and his wallet out his pocket.
We've all seen the video. He's pulled over for a routine. He's got a cracked tail light. He explains to the officer that he has a gun, and just that thought changes the scenario. This man was a law-abiding citizen exercising his Second Amendment right, and he was killed by the police for no reason. There's no apparent reason aside from what I believe the officer reacting because he was fearful. Cliven Bundy, he had been on federal lands using it to graze cattle, and he never paid. He was actually, shirking on his responsibility of paying the government. And then he was given a bill, and he refused to pay, and so he took this as an affront. And he challenged the federal government, and then people brought up on his cause, and they came to his ranch. They came to this area armed. I mean, they were threatening federal officers with high-powered rifles, but yet they were painted in the press as patriots. They were painted in the press as being people that had legitimate grievances with the government, and they were petitioning the government, right, by their lawful Second Amendment rights. If you were to flip that script and you had black folks armed like that, you have to imagine the outcome would have been very, very different. And it comes down to basically, who do these folks look like? It's hard to shoot someone if they remind you of your brother or your father or your son. If you see someone as someone that's not like you at all or is a threat, they're going to be treated differently. And that's where the double standard comes in.
If you're exercising a right, a lawful legal right, and you're doing it the right way, you should have nothing to fear.